You wrote a column about diamonds in the rough. Take us through those, what you like about these guys, and do you think they fit with what the Browns want to do?
Well, I wrote for Diamonds in the Rough, so one for each day of the Combine. We could take a look from what I had Saturday night, which was the defensive linebacker group, which was the best group of the week. And first up, as you see on the screen, Amari Barno from Virginia Tech. I mean, 246 pounds. The guy that runs a 4.36 40. I mean, you don't really have to say much else when you look at just that absolute pure speed that Barno has. I know 40-yard dashes in the end-all be-all for defensive ends. I mean, you're not asking those guys on the end to run to run 40 yards very often, but good explosiveness, good vertical ability, shuttle time pretty good. Got a relative athletic score on a scale of 1 to 10, about a 9.73. Would have liked to see the agility numbers, which is a complaint I kind of have about most of these guys at the Combine, is a lot of them didn't do the 3-code, which really I think is a bigger tell-all for success than the 40 is. But, Barno seems like a very interesting late round, like a day 3, maybe 4th round flyer that sticks out. I mean, again, 4.36 40 for a defensive end. There has not been a defensive end that has ever run that. That's just sensational. Speaks to his athleticism. If I look at defensive tackles, I'm going to go to Stanford for Thomas Booker. Now, this was a guy who very athletic as well. I mean, you're not looking at defensive tackles who run the 40, but sort of 5 seconds, pretty good size. The agility numbers stick out for a guy that size. A 20-yard shuttle of 4.41 seconds, a 3-cone of 7.33. He's a guy that could sneak into that, certainly also be a late day 2, early day 3 guy, relative athletic score of almost 10. And, we've talked about defensive tackle being in need. Maybe it's not one they target early, especially if they go out and get a guy or two in free agency. But if they want to keep stocking that room up, get another athletic prospect like Thomas Booker to fill that third role. And number 3 for me, I'm going to go to the SEC. Chance Campbell, the linebacker from Ole Miss. There's a guy that there's some, draft sites that you look at. Some of them have him, at the back end of the entire draft, like the Draft Network 210, that would be in the 7th round. Draft Tech has him 312. That's all the way, UDFA level. But what Campbell showed is that he can move pretty well. The sub 4.6 40, broad jump's very good, as you can see, 10 feet 7 inches, 6th among linebackers on the vertical, 39.5 inches. Tells you he's got speed and he's got explosiveness. He's one of those guys, I think, that, what he did on Saturday night, he needed to do well to earn himself, to really boost his chance getting drafted. It seems like a guy who could certainly do that. Maybe early in his career, he's a guy that you put out there on special teams, that he's one of those gunners that you got on punt team or whatever to go get the return men, try and bring him down. This is a guy that could certainly do that early on in his career. Maybe as you continue to refine him, certainly a guy that maybe you can fit into a sub package someday. But for a late round flyer, especially if you want to fill out your special teams coverage units, this is an interesting player to check out.